So today we're going to be talking about making technology work for us. We're going to go over data entry shortcuts. We're going to go over ways to automate processes, and we're going to go over ways to have stockmarket.arrow and external databases make your lives easier. So. Who am I? Stephen Powell, manager of stockmarket.arrow. Probably many of you know me. If not, this is me. Come find me afterwards. Come find me at the dinner. Come grab a card. If you guys want to talk about stockmarket.arrow, and how it can work with your company, I'm always available to talk. Well, sometimes. Here we have our panel here. We've got Michelle and Cole and Tomer, Luke, and Maury. So many of you might recognize a lot of these names as calling in for support or working with a web development program or something. So like I said, in this session, we're going to look at ways to really make your lives easier. So we're going to be talking about really two type of categories. We're going to be going over productivity and visibility. So we'll take a look at the stock market module. We'll take a look at the new electronic payment solution, upgraded parts search app. I know many of you are going to be pretty excited about that. We're going to talk about the purchase management module, quantum-to-quantum files, and the updated stock market app and event manager. As far as visibility goes, we're going to take a look at the MV Parts feature. We're going to look at the bottom banner for some additional visibility and broadcast messages and part alerts. So, electronic payment solutions is a new feature that we have currently live in its first iteration. If a vendor lists a stock line with a price and also lists a certification with the stock line, there is an option to have the customer pay you directly through PayPal through stockmarket.arrow. So, in order to set that up, you will need to speak with one of us. So please, come by and see me if you'd like to talk about how we can make that work for you. We also are looking to expand this feature to work in many ways. And so we really want to speak with you guys, the quantum users, to see how we can help that revolve around your companies the best. So really looking for a lot of feedback for that, so please come see me. Let's take a look at it. So here we've got a search. We've got our image icon. We've got a buy now price. We're going to click on the buy now price on the website. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. You've got the contact details, part details, send an RFQ. But now we have the option to pay now. We click that, and the rest is really powered by PayPal. The customer can use their PayPal account, or they can go as check out as a guest. So, works as you would think it works. Next, I want to talk about the stock market module in Quantum. Has anyone gotten a chance to work with this? A raise of hands? Loads of you. Excellent. So the stock market module was introduced in version 10.5. We actually spoke about it at last Q group, right before it was rolled out. It is a great way to really take control of the items, the part numbers that you have publicly visible. The module really works with 3 different functions, or 3 different sections. We've got, of course, our filter up at the top. We've got our flag on the side, and then our execution up at the top there as well. So you can come in and say, hey, for this warehouse, I want our warehouse in California. You filter it, you can see all the stock lines in that particular warehouse. You can go through and say, I want this stock line, this stock line, this stock line. You can come in and double click on there. We really wanted to give the users the most flexibility that they could execute. We wanted to give them all the power. So in version 10.7, we've introduced some new features in the stock market module. We've introduced stock market public price and public image to fields there. So now, not only can you help yourself be aware of what items you are advertising, take control of what items, you can also really make yourself aware of the images that you're putting out there. So some stock lines you may think that you have an image attached, but you may not. Or you could have an image attached that does not have the correct category code that's meant to be visible. So we've got those here. And then for adjusting those settings, we have our new Update Stock Market Price button up at the top, and then direct access to the document imaging down at the bottom. So pretty cool shortcuts. We also have some new numbers implemented. These are to help you really at first glance get an idea of how you're using the module, and also what the status of your public or your advertised part numbers are in your whole database. So like the second number there, inventory stats, it'll tell you how many stock lines you have flagged publicly or flagged to be visible in the stock market that have quantity available. And it'll tell you how many stock lines total you have quantity available. So at first glance, you can say, oh, I have 4,000 stock lines in my database. 3,000 are visible to the stock market. I know that that is an appropriate number. You may not know to the stock line, but if it's really off, you'll be able to take control and be aware of what's going on. I mean, really the theme with stockmarket.arrow is to create visibility. I mean, stockmarket.arrow is all about creating visibility between the customers and the vendors. We want to be able to give you, the quantum users, as much power to have visibility over what you have advertising as well as procurement options. So up on the stats, some of you may know with the stock market module that after you filter a certain amount, only what your fetch size is the number of items that are going to show. So if you filter a warehouse and it has 2,000 items, but your fetch size is 200, only 200 items are going to show. You'll be able to flag those, hit the next button, do whatever you want. But it's very important to keep aware of the number of items that you have filtered and the number of items that you're seeing. So we built those tools to help you with that. And we also applied them to the Capabilities tab as well. So it gives you an idea of how many capabilities you have and can have. Something we put here is we also put the database name right there. So some of you have many databases. Sometimes they can kind of all blend together as one. So we put that reminder in there. So I think that was pretty cool. Part Search app update. Does anybody use the Part Search app on their website? It is an excellent tool now. The Part Search app is a link that you can put in your email signature, in your Facebook, on your website. That's really a storefront for your part numbers. So it's a stock market search, but it only shows the part numbers from your database. So if somebody has a link on their email signature that says, hey, click here to search my inventory, you click there and it'll take you to a search page, and it'll only be your inventory on there. It's a great product. It's real easy to implement. If you're interested in looking to get it attached to your website or looking to start using it, please contact myself or anyone up here. But right now in development is the Part Search app version 2.0 really. And this is great because it is going to have better performance, more customization options, because the case for the Part Search app normally is having it embedded in your website. And so now with these new customization options, you can really help it feel more like a part of your website. So let's take a look. So this is the current Part Search app. Now, as you can see, it looks great. Yeah, it does. But it's a little separated. It's a little disjointed. And here is an example of the current Part Search app with a part search in it. Now, here's a mock-up of the upgraded Part Search app, and you can see that it's much more adapted to the website. Now, one of the most exciting parts about this new upgrade and how it adapts, if you are to open this link on a mobile device, it will then adapt to this mobile device. And so really what it becomes, not only is it a 24-hour storefront for your business, but it's now a mobile app for your business. So now every single one of you can easily implement this mobile app. So pretty excited about that. So next I'm going to talk about the Purchase Management Module. Purchase Management Module is an excellent tool. Who in here works with a lot of work orders? Okay, yeah, working with a lot of work orders, you're going to find yourself really having a need for the Purchase Management Module. And I'm sure many of you are already using it. But I'm going to go through a quick example of using the Purchase Management Module. So when using this, the first thing you do is you click the Force Retrieve button. And the Force Retrieve button will kind of queue up the data in the database. Then we'll be able to apply the filters. In this example, we're using the filters of work order and released work order. And then you press the refresh button to apply those filters. And then here you'll be brought up with a few part numbers. I'll go ahead and enlarge that. And you can click the Sources button to view where the needs are actually coming from on those part numbers. So in this example, we have a work order that is requesting 200 of this particular part number. So now you can create a vendor quote right within the Purchase Management Module. But also what you can do is you can access the stock market to kind of get an idea of which vendors have this part available right within the purchase management module. And that's especially helpful. And we actually have a new feature being developed right now, which is the send RFQ from this page. So you'll be able to pull up whichever vendors have this available, flag a few, and hit the send RFQ button. So what that's going to do is that's going to send them an RFQ, and it's going to automatically create a vendor quote detail in your system, which you'll be still view inside the purchase management module. And then when you receive that response, you're going to want to edit that vendor quote detail. And input, whatever their response is. And then at that point, we're going to want to select that filled out vendor quote detail so we can start the process of rolling it into a purchase order. When we select it, it wants to know if we have a specific order in mind. We say yes, because in this example, we're looking to attach it to this work order. We fill out the details here. And it gets applied to our approved purchases right here. And then we go over to the purchase tab, and then at this point, we can roll it into a purchase or a request for purchase right there. So I certainly suggest that if you have the type of environment where you're having to take advantage of a lot of purchasing, to really dig into the purchase management module, and of course dig into the stock market options within the purchase management module. These are great tools that can really create additional visibility while saving time. So next we're going to talk about my favorite data entry shortcut, which is the QCC file. Many of you may be pretty familiar with this. So here we have the inventory management screen. We're going to click on the green button, which we call in the middle there. You guys know why we call that the green button? It's because we're really good at naming buttons. So we click that, and the green button is going to pull up every vendor that has this part number available. We're going to go ahead and flag a vendor, hit the send RFQ button, and that's going to create a vendor quote for us, as well as sending the RFQ out there. So here's an example of the email that is sent out that the vendor is going to receive. And we've got in the email, with every stock market transaction, we always have the email address, phone number, name, every single step of the way, so that at any point, any party is able to pick up the phone and complete that transaction, because we really want to make sure to have that transparency there. But what we're talking about right now is that QCC file in the email here. So the vendor receives this. They say, all right, let's continue with this. They double-click on the QCC file, and it says, would you like to create a customer quote for this company? You say, I sure would. That's why I clicked on it. Pulls up the header for the customer quote. You can review that data. You hit OK, and then it pulls up the detail right there. And in the detail, you go ahead and you put in the quantity quoted and the sell price. And you hit OK, and then boom, the quote has been sent. So now the vendor has a customer quote, and the customer has a vendor quote detail, and neither parties have had to really manually input any information. So now the customer receives this email back with another QCC file in it, And this has got the same sort of information that we talked about earlier, name, phone numbers, addresses. But it's also got the price and quantity that was responded with, as well as any notes if we wanted to add those. So they click on the QCC file. And just like before, Windows is going to ask if they want to open or save. You click the Open button. And then it's going to bring them into a vendor quote detail update screen. And so in this screen, it's going to display the information, the quantity, and the cost that was communicated. And they just hit the update item, and then boom, that updates their vendor quote detail, which they can then roll into a purchase order. So pretty cool stuff. Next, we're going to talk about the quantum-to-quantum files. QCC files are already in use and readily available. If you guys see an email come with the QCC file, you're going to want to definitely double-click on it now. But quantum-to-quantum files are new in version 10.6 and has kind of a similar functionality, but now, as Nick and Todd spoke about earlier today, they spoke about how quantum-to-quantum files are really going to be part of the future of component control. Really, one of the goals that we have is we want everyone to be able to really be excited about working with each other. So we have this opportunity to all be working on the same system, and now we're going to start taking advantage and making this easier. So the first implementation of Q2Q files is sending out RFQs. So here we've got a customer quote module open and a customer quote open. We've got a couple line items on here. Here's a bigger screen of that. So we're going to put some vendors on these line items. So one way to do that is by clicking the vendors button, and we click add. Another way to do that is by going over to global vendor utilities, flag items for single vendor. And the next is accessing the stock market. You can click this button up at the top, search all parts and vendors. That's going to bring up a list of every vendor that has any of these three parts available. So we come in here, we flag a couple of vendors, and we click the Add Vendors to Quote button. So now that we have vendors on our line items, we're going to request a quote. To do that, now normally if you're going to print a quote, you go global print quote. But we're going to request a quote, so we go to global RFQ to vendors. Now many of you may be pretty familiar with this because it is a really easy tool for sending RFQs out. We only looked at one of, or a handful of the options for adding a vendor onto a customer quote. There are many options. It's a very well thought out module. So here, we're printing this. We're going to put the destination email, and we've got this cool new checkbox, attached Q2Q file. Go ahead and print this. And this is going to bring up what it normally looks like. We have our XML body. We've got our PDF attachment, which has the full request for quote in there. But now we have this Q2Q file attached as well. So the vendor can go ahead and open that file, double click, just like before, save or open, we click open. So now this kind of brings us into the new Q2Q file interface. Now this is really cool. What makes Q2Q different than QCC file is things are not going through our servers. This is 100% quantum to quantum. So, the type of unit of measurement that they use may not be the same type of unit of measurement that you use. And so you come in here, and it's kind of got a left side, right side type of thing going on here. We've got the data that the QCC file pulled in the data that was in the XML document, or data, and then we've got what it has applied to your database, opening this up. So as you can see right here, we don't have a match for a demo company. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the ellipses to find demo company, which in our database happens to have a period after the U and the S. So in this example. Next, we're going to take a look at the different parts. So here, again, we have left side, right side. So in this example, we are not going to quote them part number A100. We're going to quote them part number A100-1. So we just select our part, and we click on the ellipses over here to change it to A100-1. And so now you see we've got the differences here. We hit OK, and boom, it pulls it all in. So you can do this with dozens of parts. So it could be a real time saver. It is really cool technology, and and this is just the start. So we can be implementing Q2Q files in the future, and repair orders, purchase orders, invoices. So in the future, if you're working with a Quantum customer, you may never have to type anything out again. Things can just work. Next, we're going to take a look at the updated stockmarket.arrow app. I hope all of you have that on your phone, right? Everybody's nodding. Of course you do. If not, you guys should really give it a download. And you should really make sure that it's updated, because we went through a big update this last year, and it looks and runs great. So we're all pretty excited about it. Next, in the spirit of making technology work for you, we're going to take a look at the Event Manager. Now, the Event Manager is a very powerful tool. I'm sure a lot of you know that, and I'm sure if some of you don't have the Event Manager, you probably are tired of people talking about it, because it is really cool stuff. So in this example, we are going to talk about creating an automatic filter for stock lines on stockmarket.arrow. So this is an example where we've got our database, and everything that is in condition any, so everything that's new in our warehouse, Florida, we want to always be flagged to be on the stock market. So we just want this automatic rule. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an Oracle stored procedure, which flags market visible for the warehouse and the condition code. Now, if you have someone on site that can write Oracle stored procedures, that is excellent. If you need assistance with that, there's a link here to speak with data services. Data services can write those kind of statements. So for this example, we're going to create our stored procedure. We're going to call it Flag Stock Warehouse FL. Next, we're going to open up our qcscheduler.exe. So I'm sure if any of you have used QC Scheduler, you'll probably be very familiar with what that looks like. And next, this is the Event Manager interface. So we have on the right here the available events, and we've got the scheduled events on the left there. So we're going to grab and double-click on Execute Stored Procedure. We're going to tell it to be running every 5 minutes. It's a reoccurrence. And then here we're going to go ahead and type in our procedure name that we created, which was flag stock warehouse FL, and hit OK. So that's it. So we just went ahead and we're now having the event manager do work for us. It just created a custom stock market filter for our Florida warehouse. It's pretty exciting stuff. So next we're going to jump into visibility. We spoke about the MV Parts feature. MV Parts is a way to sponsor individual parts instead of parts as a whole. Again, if you guys are interested in something like that, come speak to me or anyone on the panel here. So in our My Inventory screen on the stockmarket.arrow website, we see a list of our parts. I'm going to click on the green arrow button. It's going to pull up my company name and a list of all the other vendors that have this part available on the first page. And then I'm able to just click and drag my company logo to where I desire it to be. We can see over here the cart summary for what we've selected, and then we just complete the transaction. That's it. So it's a real cool interface. So if some of you want to take advantage of this visibility opportunity, you should give it a try. We also have our bottom banner has been resized, so it's got some more visibility there. If anyone's interested in that, that's also a great opportunity. Broadcast messages. Does anyone take advantage of the broadcast messages? That's excellent. Everyone should be taking advantage of the broadcast messages. It is a great tool for really being a part of the aviation industry. Now this is a free feature on the website, stockmarket.arrow. I hope all of you have stockmarket.arrow accounts. You can just go and register a free account. And on the website, you'll see it's just the broadcast message page. And you can list a message for parts wanted, parts for sale, announcements, aircrafts and engines for lease. It is a great tool. And you'll also find a link for the broadcast messages right here in Quantum. So next week, I want all of you to go and download this presentation and take a look at some of these links. We've got a great training page on the Component Control website for some of the more advanced stock market features. And of course, we've got a link to Q Group as well. So there are so many great resources on componentcontrol.com. If any of you haven't just taken a look at some of the training pages, there's great videos and descriptions right there. All right, points to take home. So definitely make sure to take advantage of the stock market module so you can be aware of your inventory, easily be able to flag or move around your stock lines, your capabilities. Data entry shortcuts like the QCC file and the Q2Q files, really cool stuff. Really make a lot of people's lives easier. Stock Market mobile app, for iOS and Android. I hope all of you are downloading it right now. Yeah. And of course, taking advantage of features like the event manager and such. All right, so now we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions about stock market or data entry shortcuts? Not everybody at once. Calm down, guys. All right, excellent. Well, I'm going to be out at the kiosk, and I will be here all tomorrow as well. So please come flag me down if you have any questions. Something that we need to ask from you guys is, just like Quantum, stockmarket.arrow really thrives from the community. It thrives from you. So having feedback is very important to us. So we really need you to come forward and say, hey, Stephen, I need stockmarket.arrow to do this. Now, I won't always say yes, but we need that kind of input. We need to be able to talk. Yes, sir?
I'm sorry. Is stock market at Arrow doing anything to, maybe audit's the right word, but audit companies that have a lot of ghost listings, people that aren't listing the actual inventory that they're trying to sell? I know, for instance, iOS does occasionally do that if they receive enough complaints. And I just wondered if stock market had any sort of intention of doing that. I know you're a free service, whereas iOS is not, so it's a little bit different, but
No,
it's kind of frustrating when you're contacting a bunch of companies on stock that they don't have.
No, definitely. Yeah, we have a lot of processes to police our inventory and companies in a lot of different ways. Ghost inventory is one way. One of the advantages that we have is we have stock capabilities. So we have our distribution capability that if we feel that a company is not is maybe listing some ghost inventory, right away we flag them as distributors of those parts and not actual inventory, and then we get in contact with them and we speak about it and we say, hey, can you give us some proof of your inventory, and we feedback for that as well. We take very seriously, and every new vendor goes through a pretty serious rundown before they're even posted. Even though we're a free service, it's not always easy to get inventory on stockmarket.arrow, even if some of these companies want to. So we take the quality of our data very seriously, and on that account, probably one of the best things that you can do is take a look at when that stock was updated. There's an updated date, and also working with Quantum customers, because one of the greatest benefits that stockmarket.arrow has is real-time inventory, and all of these stock lines from Quantum customers, these are stock lines in their database. So you can't get more real than that. So it's pretty, we're pretty proud of it. But does that answer your question?
It does. Have you ever, to assuage my hesitation, have you ever delisted somebody for not listing?
Definitely.
For having 14,000 parts that they were actually had, or whatever. Or doing somebody else's stock listings and just listing it as their own?
Regularly. Like I said, we take our quality of our stock lines very seriously, and we are not afraid to take stock off. Any other questions, guys? And again, I'm going to be here, so come flag me down. Guy with the bow tie. I'm sure you'll be able to find him. All right, thank you very much.